Hi people, welcome to Blue K Jazz Dance. You're in my dance lab. This is my mood board. This is me where I write my ideas down about projects I want to do or writing I do. I'm a visual learner as an individual. Blue K Jazz Dance is an umbrella term for UK undergraduates, lifestyle, cultures and movements, okay? And what happened, you know, I'm dyslexic. I use the system because of my dad and my mum. That's what they used to do. Both parents nurtured me and educated me to be a creative person, and they did it from war. My mum was into fashion design and art. My dad was into art and design. Mum was into designing, did crochet. So she had a lot of things on the wall, like for example patterns, etc. My dad had his own drawings in little books, etc. 24/7, and he nurtured in that. Parents nurtured me to use this practice. I wasn't aware of it, that I was a visual learner till the age of 41. Amazing. But I taught people, this is what I do when I'm doing projects. The project's called Rock, Rebirth for the Call. It's about me coming back to the stage and me sharing with people information around my leadership. So this down here, this is my iPad. This represents my iPad. And in there, I talk about my leadership, talking about my acts of achievement. You know, what barriers did I go through as a person with dyslexia for 41 years to get qualifications, to support people in small business, to create small business, to develop myself as a lifelong learner and actually promote myself as a lifelong learner before lifelong learning was around. So I want to give people an understanding. Boom. You see a picture of here, and the picture is me hurdling barriers. If I wanted to describe my life, I would describe it as a person who has, I have hurdled so many barriers to gain leadership opportunities. First of all, a special education needs person, I was written off, even in aspects of my family, to not be able to do certain key things. The reason is because I displayed clumsiness. I displayed a lot of key things, I would definitely say, that I wasn't able to solve a lot of problems, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how it was. So your relatives, people that you met would see you as not as a person, he's dumb him. That's what happened. And then it was confirmed by the school. I went to primary school. They did a test and said I was a slow learner. This person wanted to do exams, so that's all. And they're written off by the educational system. You have to know what the British educational system's like. And then what made it even worse, I was seen as a West Indian from the slums. That means I'm going to have no chance of education. A West Indian parents who didn't have an education, academic education, so therefore I'm definitely not going to be able to pass my exams. They were the type of things. But my parents taught me, don't let disadvantages be a barrier to entry. Hurdle what you need to hurdle. That's what they taught me. Okay, and they helped me do that. Now, one of the key things I want to share with people is one of the key things was I got myself into university, Oxford Brookes. Not the first time I was on a degree as an individual who had been failed exams, but I excelled in sports and dance for the two areas, and visual arts and music, because I was a leader in these areas. They got me leadership opportunities and event fundraising. I did a lot of events fundraising, using dance as an individual, creating talent competitions, all that type of thing. As the leader, as a person invested in it. For the church, I got leadership opportunities. In black organization, I got leadership opportunities. And me and my brother were promoters, independent promoters. That, more than anything else, is how I developed my leadership. Most importantly, from the age of 8, I created a character called The Adventures of the Swing Kid. You hear me speak about before, where I as an individual was the creator, was the writer, was the producer, was the director, was the set designer, was the hair designer. Everything to do with it, I created it at the age of 8. And it transformed me from that day. And I did it to overcome being put on the spot 24/7 in reading, in writing, in performance. I was just messed up. Yeah, I showed I wasn't cool, calm and collective, and I did not like it. So in the Caribbean there was a competition, a storytelling competition. I entered it. There was a cricket competition. I entered it, athletic competition, and I realized I was a cool, calm, cool person if I got encouraged and supported, because I had a martial arts teacher that realized that I had skills, I had knowledge, but I didn't have courage. I didn't have confidence, and I didn't have the consistency to practice the conditions of being put on the spot. So what happened to me as an individual, I went to the Caribbean after people tried to kill me in my school. It was part of rehabilitation intervention. When I came back from there, I had to do basically a portfolio of my achievements. I had to do writing, basically rehabilitation writing. I used to talk about, how I felt, and I can put words down, like, how do you feel today? How do you feel today? Bad, happy. And I'll use words. So what happened, I started to develop my writing skills in a very unique way under the German course Roy Blackman. This means a book. And so I kept journals. Nobody knew I kept journals. And what you have to know in the UK, huge was people writing journals, but huge was people writing poetry about how they feel, but never performing it. I took it to the next level, which I performed it. So I did a one-boy show in Grenada, and I did a one-boy show when I came back to the UK, because what happened at school holidays, they would ask you, one of the greatest things was, there always were essays done about, what did you do on your holiday? I said, let me show you. I wrote about it, so the school was surprised, and then I showed them what I did. And the people were shocked to know that I had knowledge, experience, and skills. And again, I won a storytelling competition. I won athletic competition. At 8 years old is when sports became a competitive in my primary school. I was one of a few blacks. They found out I was the leading cricket player in the whole of the school from 8. One of the leading athletes from the age of 8. One of the leading rounder players, basically the leading all-round sportsman in the history in the school, and a leading chess player. How that worked out is supposed to be dumb, but that's how it works. We used to play board games at home. And so what happens, spatial awareness, dyslexia, put it all together, then you'll start to do some research that'll give you a deeper insight. But I found out I was a leading player. So what happened was, my primary school did something brilliant. In respect to my sports, they allowed me to play for the school at the age of 8. So I played for the 9-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. Now, I was already being bullied in the school. Now, what happened was, I came back more toughened up. There was more toughened up after facing violent bullying antics. Yeah? And my parents were very much vigilant to keep up to date with what's happening in my school and outside. Teacher had an academic coach, had a rehabilitation coach, was the same person, my friend, who gave me rehabilitation counselling. So I had rehabilitation counselling. And I had rehabilitation counselling for facing violent bullying that nearly led to me dying in the school. I'm not going to go into that story because that's too dramatic. But what happened, basically, I went to the Caribbean to toughen up, and I did come back toughen up. So in my life, I realized one thing that you can do is go on rehabilitation, intervention, events, activities to toughen yourself up to live in the world that you're going to live. And that is how I hurdled barriers to learning, training, development. I came back, I got academic coach. When I got academic coach, immediately my academic learning excelled, because in the school I was written off. I was not given no care. I was given no understanding, and I was socially isolated in the school. Right now we're in social isolation in COVID2020, so I know what it's like. I never let that stop me, because what happened, one thing I had was a imaginative mind from very young, living in the slums. All the children I knew were involved in a lot of activities, and that is what I've done most of my life. Do you understand? I'm giving you insight how I hurdled my barriers to entry. Was I always had activities that I was involved in that were all about, guess what? Developing my leadership skills. It was always empowering me to be bigger, better, and bolder in what I wanted to do. I had aspirations. That's one of the things that I have. Now in 2020, I have aspirations for my small business. I started my business already in COVID-19, but it was set back. I wanted to be involved in dance, health, and well-being. That was the key thing. Most of my life, many people are unaware, I have been in the world of health and well-being. I've supported a lot of people to support them in their health needs, from the home to the workplace, to particularly in higher education. Oxford Brookes, I was at university, I was there from 05 to 09. I supported loads of people in established positions as a warden, tour guide, student experience supervisor. And behind that, I had my own society called Student Empowering Students, Student Empowering Communities as individuals. And one of the key things on top of the list, how do you look after your health and well-being? How do you look after your fitness? Being in higher education, I'd been there before. I know what loneliness can do. As we're seeing now, a lot of students committing suicide. While I was in Oxford, 1 in 5 was a student. I went there deliberately because of the course, but also to do research into how students, particularly Black and Asian minority students, navigate